Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. And roll top wire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you guys buy it. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Well, we've got a decent slate of news with the initial jobless claims and retail sales month over month coming up in about 6 minutes. And yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Let's just go through the charts really quick first. I'll start with the Treasury here, man. The 10-year has just been awfully volatile lately, hasn't it? And it's been particularly so overnight here. Their initial move on the pit session starting here, heading down. So I'm not really very sure where we're going to be going here on this. Remember, because tomorrow isn't a holiday, that today is options expiration. So S&P 500 had a pretty good run yesterday. It wasn't too amazing, but it was a pretty good run. And I don't know, can they make it back up to 4,500? Maybe, maybe not. But I suspect that depending on how the retail sales is and everything else, that it's probably going to be a positive day. But we'll see. I have to say today is a pretty difficult day to make calls, and it's likely to be very volatile. So it might be a good idea to just kind of preserve capital for day trading, at least. Gold and silver doing not too bad. Copper, copper could be better, but. And then we come over to the Bitcoins. So the Bitcoins did yesterday, after the Bank of Canada tried to make a big jump for no apparent reason, fading a little bit, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good, but I don't know. I'd be a little worried about them taking another dip over the weekend. So that's over there. And then the dollar getting creamed yesterday. So that might be part of why Bitcoin was able to move up, right? Interesting. Okay, so the news is that Elon Musk is going to be, has offered to buy Twitter. Let's see here. Keller says apparently he wants to do a complete hostile takeover of Twitter, hence the early morning's dodge pump. I guess I plan on aping in at the market. Well, look, I don't know if so it really depends on whether you think they're going to sell, right? So just real quick here, I haven't heard anything about Goldman Sachs earnings. That's going to be important for us too. JP Morgan seems to be within yesterday's range. Twitter, let's come back over here. So Twitter is taking a pretty big jump here. So I need to come out to like a 1-day move. Okay. So they're actually not as high as they were when he initially bought in. 54. Isn't 54 the price that he's going for? Like 54.20? I don't know. If he pulls this off, it could, I don't know. Like, so here's the thing. Here's the poll that I'm going to make. Create poll. Will Twitter sell? Okay, he's made it clear that he does not have any confidence in current management. So if they oh, I didn't want to close that quite yet. So if they say no, what happens, right? Could he try a hostile takeover and try and get the shareholders to vote? It's possible. I'm guessing that is probably why he made the price that he did. Because if it's too high of a price, you create you create room for other people to come in and try and buy, right? You create room for other people to come in and try and buy the stock to try and do something else, right? But if it's close enough to the current market prices, that doesn't really give them any room, right? Now, I see a lot of people out there saying, he's just manipulating the stock, right? He never had any intention of owning Twitter, and this is just so that he can sell his shares. Well, in my estimation, if he sells his shares, he's going to lose money. So let's try and game that out, shall we? So here's a chart of Twitter. I'm going to come in and put it on a 1 day. We're also going to need to add a few indicators here. So we need to have volume, of course. And we have, oh, why do I not have ATR? That should be starred ATR. Okay. So when we come over here, ATR, let's be generous and say ATR is 3. Okay. Oh wait, let's wait for the news here to go by first. I don't plan on trading it, but here we go. Retail sales month over month, we're looking for spot 6, and jobless claims we're looking for 170K. They pulled pretty heavy. Okay, so retail sales slightly under expectations. Still waiting on jobless claims. Oops, I need to come over to this screen. 185K, so higher than expected. So neither of those numbers are very good. They could move the treasuries up a little bit. Let's say 3. So next I'm going to come over here to Yahoo Finance. Average volume 109. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. Okay. C. Let's make that a little bigger. And we'll use the pen. C times omega times the square root of Q over V. So we need one more piece of information. Does it tell us? Well, let's just search Elon Musk buys Twitter. Let's see if they tell us how many shares he owns. Let's see here. Yeah, maybe we need to do that. It's 9%, but I would rather just see 73.5 million. Okay. And the average 10-day is 109. Okay, so that's too high. That's much, much too high. Hold on a second. Stick with me, folks, because this could be really, really good. All right. I think what we should do is Elon Musk Twitter 13D filing, I think is what it was. There we go. Twitter. That's the right number, right? 73.5. So we don't get to see all of the transactions. I wonder how long it took them to buy that. Okay, so what's the we got to consult our book here. The square root law. Oh, it opens right to it. Domain of validity. Prediction, synchronization. Q is not equal to the aggregate imbalance of order or imbalance, which is linear. In here somewhere it says it must be for small q. There you go. The ratio Q over V should be small such that the meta order constitutes only a small fraction of the total volume via T and such that the impact is small compared to the volatility. In the case of where Q over VUT is substantial, one enters in a different regime because the meta order causes a large perturbation to the ordinary course of the market. In this large Q over V regime, a meta order with sufficiently long execution horizon time for the underlying latent liquidity to reveal itself is expected to have a completely different impact than a meta order that is executed extremely quickly, with the risk of destabilizing the market and possibly inducing a crash. So it doesn't tell us the amount. Because you're gonna split it up. You're gonna split it up. Okay, so let's do it like this. 3 times the square root of 0.1 times V over 0.1. Right? Or sorry, over V. So these cancel themselves out, and this becomes 10%. So we get 3 times 0.1. So we get 0.3. Am I right? He might actually get away with it. So if the Twitter board says no, okay, here's what I think happens. I think that the Twitter board says no, and Elon Musk sells all of his shares and then starts his own company. the question is, would he make money on the transaction if he just immediately sold everything? Well, 100 and that's like 10,000 times 7. That'd be like 7 times 3. So that'd be like $2. I don't know. I don't know. Is the ATR really only like $2? That's actually, I really thought that it would be higher than that, but I guess it actually is probably reasonable in the most recent regime. So let's say $3 to $5 just for him to sell. And Twitter would probably like open lower overnight, sort of a thing. Yeah, to get back to 35. So let's say $35 is like where I would expect Twitter to go if they say no. But then I think you go lower than that because I don't know. It might be a good trade. If the options are the right prices for down to 35, it might be worthwhile to buy puts here. So do you understand what I'm saying? The amount of shares that Elon Musk holds is basically equal to the average volume per day of Twitter, right? So if he's split out his selling over a week or so, he might be able to keep his impact down to like $5. But that would still be, probably that would still be a little bit right about what he bought it at. And of course, that the market is going to tank too. So probably he loses money on that transaction. And the question for us is kind of like, well, what would the impact actually take it to? And I'm guessing, this is like a really rough estimate as you saw, but there was some real math behind it, $35, right? So if we could get decent puts for $35, might be worth it to buy puts. Might also, options expiration is today, so that doesn't give you a very good day to do it, does it? You don't necessarily want to do it today. I'm curious that the treasuries seem to be selling off since the news. I don't think that retail sales was bad or anything. Oh yeah, we do have ECB talking too. That must be why. I don't know if I really want to watch the ECB meeting. Last time it was kind of boring. Salim has been asking me a ton of questions, and I'm not sure what he's trying to say or what he's getting at. You can predict future orders in some instances. One thing you can do is trade at max volatility. Well, but if all you're doing is trading at max volatility, then all you're doing is gambling, right? I don't think that Jigsaw licenses are transferable. This guy is trying to sell his license. For cheaper. I don't know if I would be. What are they saying over here? What are your thoughts on taking profit? I'm having the hardest time optimizing this. I know it's a complex topic. Yeah, well, the way that I try and do it is I try and estimate how big the order that is moving the market is going to be, right? So if I think that we're going to have a 15,000 order change in cumulative delta in the 10-year treasury, then when it gets up to 15,000, I should see some sort of a liquidity hole, and I'm going to try and slip into that liquidity hole. And you'll notice I almost always try and execute around the liquidity hole on an exit. So sometimes they go further and you've estimated wrong and that happens, but that's essentially the way that I approached it. Because what I've found is that if of all of the methods that I've tried in automated trading systems to take profit, the best, the most profitable tends to be stop and reverse, which means that you have a signal, you stay in the market until you see an opposite signal, right? The next best that I found is taking set targets, right? That are based on somewhat on the average true range. So like in this situation, I think that in ES, you want to be going for 10 points. That's just like if you were to take every range, every 30-minute bar, let's say every 30-minute bar, and you said, this is the distribution of them all, right? And it's going to have a really fat tail, right? And I say, I want to make money on all of these, and I'll lose money on all of these. Where is the break-even point of that? Well, right now it's at about 10. Right now it's at about 10. So that's a key point to where, like, if you were going to set your targets, you might want to base it somewhat on that, right? But more generally speaking, I really think that what you want to do is you need to have a reason to trade, right? And that reason to trade should give you some idea of how far it's going to go, right? If it's just a technical reason, then you're just going to have to go off of what the previous ranges are. If it's more of a fundamental reason, some news or whatever the deal is, we should be able to estimate based on our experience with news how many orders are actually going to trade that. Look at what the volatility is and see how far it's going to go. So to really have an edge, you have to have an edge in either direction or magnitude, right? Okay, and there's still Fed Williams saying some hawkish things. That is really thoughtful. Thank you. Well, I mean, I've thought a lot about it because I've had a hard time with it too. But when I started focusing on that a lot more, I found that I started to do a lot better. That is to say that the number of times where I got out and then really, really regret getting out, or I don't get out and really, really regret not, getting out. Anyways, that happens to me a lot less now because I have a much better idea of how far it's going to go based on the orders. Okay, so Williams is saying that the 50 basis point hike at the next meeting is a reasonable option. I'm not seeing anything like too big in his comments here, but it is definitely moving. This is, here is where I probably could have taken some trades in here and maybe made some money. That was like a really extreme move up and then a really extreme turn back the other way. And you have to ask yourself, Would I have been able to make money off of that? Well, maybe, but I could have also have lost a ton too, right? So I think what well not I think what I'm trying to do at the moment is avoid the volatility that I know is going to happen, right? Because that's kind of ends up being a really difficult trade. They made that last move may have overextended. That was a little extreme. That especially if they're just going off of 50 basis point hike is a feasible option. I don't know, man. For a market that is basically predicting like a 97% chance that they're going to hike by 50 basis points, that's a pretty mild comment, right? Uh, feasible option. Oh, good morning, Bill. How are you doing? Haven't heard you say hi in a few days, so thank you. Good, good. These are pretty extreme swings on comments. The liquidity in given the situation is not too bad. Well, I don't know. So they're putting 11,000 a little bit out there. But look at this inside. The four prices inside, the liquidity is really bad. So one of the major market makers must have really increased their spread. Yeah. Futures Trader 71 says let's be smart and not overcommit on our trades. I agree. I we might be able to pull something out of this at some point, but what I'm seeing right now is a market that I don't want to touch, right? We might see a liquidity hole form at 22. So by the way, how are we doing on our poll? It looks like so far with 8 votes, 5 say no and 3 say yes. So you are coming down on the same side as me, but it's fairly even right now. So I think here I think that what will happen is Twitter will say no. There could be a fight, but I don't think that you do it. I think that Elon will sell his shares, Twitter will tank, and he'll start his own company from scratch. Say, well, if I can't get a good one to start with, I'll start one from scratch. Although he may pick somebody else up as a base. Let's see. I don't know if there's anywhere else that has a strong enough brand and existing community to really be worth it other than Twitter. Equity call ratio is positive. Are you just talking about on the market overall? John Scatina, didn't Trump start his own Twitter? Yeah, well, I think that what happened though, I here's what I think happened. I think that Elon Musk was saying, yeah, we need to have a free speech open square. And when Trump announced the whole SPAC thing and everything, he said, okay, let's see what they do. But as time grew on, it started to look worse and worse over there for Trump's SPAC. He the person that he appointed to lead the company was not somebody with any management experience at all. And then like key engineers and stuff started quitting. And they did release like an app, but they only did it on the iStore and it didn't work completely. And it was just like a dismal rollout. So I think that he probably had the same reaction that I did and said, okay, this isn't working, so I'm going to go start my own now. So there's a lot of people, man. I mean, I don't know if it's just the liberal bent of Reddit, and it kind of seems like over time Reddit has turned more and more anti-Musk. But all of the comments in like r/investing were like, see, he never really has intended on actually owning the shares. This is all just manipulation so that this oligarch can make more money, right? And I don't think that that's the reality. If he thinks that, the people advising him aren't very good. I mean, he's working with Morgan Stanley for all this stuff. Like he's talking to people that know what they're doing, right? And they got to be telling him, hey, if your plan is to just pump and dump, you're probably going to lose money on that. Like seriously, if the board says no and then Elon Musk sells his shares, that stock is going to tank. That stock is going to tank. They're going to go to new yearly lows. It's like almost guaranteed. They're like we were going through like a rough calculation. I think that Twitter would at least go below 35. So no, I think that he's serious. I think that he wants to have a public town square, and he views Twitter as the best chance at accomplishing that. But if Twitter really says no, I think that he's going to go and start his own. And I one of the key points in the letter that he sent to the board was that if they refuse to sell, then he will have to reconsider his ownership in the company. So what that really is a threat. That's okay. If you don't sell to me, then I'm going to sell all my shares. So the stock is going to tank when you say, no, we're not going to sell. And then it's going to tank even more as he sells. And then it's going to tank even more when he comes in and he announces his own company, right? So that's what I think is going on. I think that that's the plan from here. Suppose the market rallies along with the treasuries typically. Was going to post a screenshot, but I can't. Looks like the yields are climbing currently. The correlation, okay. This is somebody's talking in Discord. The correlation between equities and treasuries can flip depending on whether the market is more concerned about of rates and monetary easing affecting stocks, or hey, thanks for saying hi. You like my videos? I'm so glad. I'm working on trying to get a more clear, like, I have so much information on the channel, and sometimes I'm worried that, like, viewers don't find the videos on the channel that are the most important, you know? One of the things I'm doing is I'm making another introduction to futures video that will, like, talk about and link to all of these other videos that I've made so that people know, like, which ones are, like, the most significant and stuff. You know, some of the more recent ones that I've done about market microstructure and stuff are like really, really valuable information. So I'm glad that you've enjoyed what you've watched so far, though. I try really hard. I'm kind of at a crossroads in content because I didn't get as much written as I would have liked over the last week. I should have some opportunities to record this weekend, but I don't know what I want to record. Where's my Evernote here? Because I had my ideas written down. Yeah, so I wanted to make a video on how options gamma can affect markets, and getting started V2. A bunch of these other ones are ones that I've just kind of had in my mind for a long time, but I've never done. One video that I had was like how YouTube streamers, how live stream traders fool you. That's a video that I kind of want to make because I feel like a lot of people are, okay, oh, you're a programmer. So, okay. Well, I am kind of in like a transition period myself on the programming, but here's what I can tell you. If you really know C#, you can do a lot of really cool things in NinjaTrader. NinjaTrader is a really great platform, but it seems to me that the big developments that are happening in the industry right now are all happening in the machine learning space. So I think that if you want to do the programming side, if I could go back and redo things, I mean, I wouldn't want to give up my experience in NinjaTrader, but I wish that I had learned more about machine learning earlier. Now, one of the things is that I kind of thought that it was like, well, okay, well, like we're going to need to learn some algorithms and some frameworks and things, but like really, the machine learning has kind of become its own world. Like it has almost its own language of sorts. I mean, most of it is going through Python these days, which is maybe not optimal for trading, but like that's what you got, unless you want to write all of this stuff yourself from scratch, which is what a lot of big banks and stuff are probably doing right now. But so the world is really more the world of data science, right? So if you want to do that sort of a thing, yeah, go get into data science and Python machine learning. Now, if you want a script to output the data and send it to a Python machine, I could probably help you there because I have something that kind of works. It was originally posted by somebody else on the Ninja Trader forum. Here, let's go find it. I'll go find it. Okay. The funny thing is that they were doing it. They wanted to do it for TensorFlow. Here, this is how I found it. It was Ninja Trader 8 TensorFlow. And there's a Futures.io thread about it, but that one didn't really work. There you go. SVM possible in Ninja Trader 8. And then on page 2 here, this guy, I think it was, I wanted to let anyone who is interested in using TensorFlow or any other machine learning library available in Python that you can seamlessly integrate them using Python. Oh, no, that's not the one. Okay, here we go. The best solution I've found so far is using sockets to communicate to Python. It has the advantage that it's easy to customize the server side in Python to add more models/calculations. I also found that the TensorFlow model predictions are up to 3 times faster using the TensorFlow serving with Dockers than loading the model in Python with TF-Keras models, load models, yes. Anyways, so this is it right here. Copy. That's where you want to go. So I went and I made one. Like I copied his code and everything. And if I recall correctly, it was receiving data. But then I didn't understand this one. Let's go look at that. I'm still, well, they're hanging out around the 22. I think we still got some speakers and stuff. So I might not want to do anything until after the S&P 500 opens. Not that one, not that one. Yeah, there's the Docker. Part of it was when I got into it, it was like, oh, okay, so how do you get TensorFlow running and everything else? But I'm actually not sure that TensorFlow is the way to go anymore. I'm actually not sure that TensorFlow is the way to go. Well, let me find this Python. There we go. So what was I doing? I was using NumPy to split the commas and then put them into lists. X.toList. Input data JSON. Oh, I see. I don't know if I necessarily want to do it that way. I think that what I want to do is once I have it in an array, just start passing it directly in. So what he's doing here is he's basically, you've got like a TensorFlow /serving Docker container running somewhere. So then this will host that information into that Docker container, essentially, right? And the reason you use the Docker container is that it like can make advantage of your video card and run all of the calculations and stuff over there, right? The reason why I'm not so sure that I want to go that way is because there's also PyTorch, which is another machine learning library for Python. And some of the tools that PyTorch has, it seems to me, may be more useful for Python machine learning. So, in particular, they have a TabNet implementation, and TabNet is geared towards doing machine learning on tabular time series data sets, essentially. So, I've seen some studies where they used that algorithm specifically to generate a profitable trading strategy. So I think I want to try that one. I think I want to try PyTorch. I just haven't quite gone into actually doing anything with it, but that's where you want to go. So if you're doing anything with it, I tell you what, I have a secret channel on Discord. I mean, it's not really so secret, but if you can show me that you program and you message me on Discord, I will get you into that channel, essentially. Hasn't the the chatter in there has kind of died down a bit because we had one algorithm that was going pretty good, but we kind of realized that we needed the machine learning part, right? So, but I'm still getting into it. I have a book to read. It's like you know, machine learning for finance or whatever by Dixon and Halpern. By the way, the Halpern guy, he posts a lot of really good stuff on LinkedIn. I've Yeah, that's the way to go. If you're interested in that kind of like finance industry computer stuff, the best resources that I found were adding people on LinkedIn. So that's one to try. Anyways, but yeah, I'm glad to hear from you. And hopefully, I everything that I give you on this channel about the programming. I think sometimes it's hard for like people that aren't really into programming, but I give them everything that they need. It's just that they might not necessarily realize that and have the, I don't know, the ego, I guess, to venture out on their own and just start making stuff. I think sometimes people still feel kind of directionless. But if you're an experienced programmer, then I definitely give you more than enough to do whatever you want in NinjaTrader, right? So I will say the one thing that kind of holds me back on doing everything in Python, because heck, at that point, why not just you connect directly into Rhythmic API Plus, right? But I think the the big downside is that the strategy analyzer is a good back tester. I mean, there's some problems with it, but it's a good back tester. Well, if you've done any kind of programming before, I think you're probably, well, you said you're a beginning programmer, so I'm not so sure. Getting into the I got to tell you, the machine learning part. Well, here's the thing. The programming aspect of the machine learning is actually not that complicated. Like, you could probably copy and paste code from other people. A lot of the examples that I've seen is just copying and pasting code from other people. But there's to really, I think, be successful in it, you have to understand the models. And the difficulty there isn't the computer science of it, it's the statistics of it. Okay, Twitter's board is meeting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to discuss Elon Musk's takeover, says CNBC. I am not certain what the if there's a headline pushing the treasuries now down to new lows, but they are below like the overnight lows in the treasury. Uh Obviously we're still in yesterday's range, so there's probably all sorts of activity. One thing I should point out is that like yesterday's value area low is 120.15 half. So that's one spot, one kind of benchmark. If you get outside of that, then you're starting to get into the tail part of yesterday. I should put that link over here. Anyways, I guess if you're a beginner, one of the things that I would do is, watch those videos and like write those up yourself and then try and like modify them. I think that that's where a lot of it comes from. Like, I'm a really good programmer in NinjaTrader. The reason that I've gotten as good as I have is because people are always coming to me up with ideas for indicators that they want to write and stuff and all sorts of dumb and like I'm almost always sure that they're not going to work and they never because they never do. But like I backtest them, but I've written so many indicators that I've gotten the experience, right? So if you don't have people bugging you to write stuff, you just kind of have to come up with dumb ideas on your own. And it might seem like a silly idea for an indicator, but you just got to write a lot of stuff and get the experience. Democrats need to save some of their outrage today for when Elon lets Trump back on Twitter. Boy. Well, the 22 did end up being a liquidity hole of sorts. You can see the distribution that formed around it. But I didn't really expect it to drop down into a new range that quickly. I was kind of thinking maybe we might try and take a reversal, but now I'm not so sure what to do. Like the way that they're going, it wouldn't be unreasonable to. I mean, gosh, this is such a big move too. Oh, actually, here in the micros, it wasn't that big. Maybe $40 if you were lucky, depending on the price that you picked. I said, there you go. Good deal. Yeah, here I will. Oh, there's your GitHub. Oh, that's very, very good. Say something in one of the main channels because I probably don't have permissions for you yet. See, I'm having trouble. Like I'm trying to work on the Discord a little bit. So anytime that there's market volatility, you're going to tend to find that activity in Discord is a little bit down. Maybe the video that I'll make this weekend is how to properly use Discord because I don't think that everybody understands how. But I created this quantitative finance section to share resources. But like if you're actually programming stuff, we probably want to do that in this trade bots channel that is like invite only. So that's kind of like my current thinking. Chad is going to write a book called How Brokers and Smart Money Prey Upon Retail Investors and What You Can Do About It. Huh. Maybe they do prey upon retail traders. I don't know. I'm not going to say it's prey because somebody has to do it. But yeah, they provide a service and they make money, and most of the retail traders that use their service don't make money. Need to close this. Oh, there you go. Okay, I just chatted in main chat. There we go. I'll add you. So regulars. And then I also think you gotta have, what is it? I don't remember what I added it as. Hold on a second. I think I need to change a few settings here. I'm just gonna add a new role here. What should I call it? Yeah, I'll worry about that later. I'll just do it this way. Okay. You should see a channel called Trade Bots, and I put that link in there. I had this other guy that was worked with us for a long time. I haven't heard from him in a while. I should check in on him. It probably hasn't been online in a while, huh? Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, but because the Discord is, activity was a little bit lower because you get a lot of people get blown out by the volatility is really what happens. I've been trying to use that as kind of like an opportunity to maybe change around the Discord a little bit. And I'm happy with the changes that we've made so far, but I want to get that quantitative finance section going a little bit better. Well, they came back above 22 there. I'm actually well, you know what? When I look at it over here in the treasury, I'm like, that moved really far. And then I look over here and I'm like, oh, that didn't move that much. But actually it did move quite a bit over here. I don't really want to trade it here. You kind of have to wonder now, how much of that move will they reverse? Are they going to come like completely back? Could be interesting. This is going to be, man, the Elon Musk thing. You only well, I only have in the trade bots channel. Yes, there was some more activity there in a while, but the thing is that I've just never quite got that like really going. The same with main chat is still like new, so we don't have like a regular people posting stuff, but the products channels tend to be pretty active. Well, like I said, it comes and goes, right? You'll have these weeks where it's just like there's so many people talking and it's like, oh my gosh. And then you go through these weeks where it's like there's no activity. This is not the first lull in activity that we've had. And like I said, like when volatility hits, that's usually when it happens, is like a bunch of traders experience the volatility and they go, well, this isn't for me. It blows out their account and they don't want to keep going. That happens a lot. Cat Turd on Twitter says that Twitter is in a box. I'm not exactly convinced that that's actually the case. I think that I think that Twitter could come out and reject Musk's offer and try to continue operations the way that they were, and they'll probably hang on for a really long time. But I think that if Elon Musk were to go and start his own Twitter, I think that he would win in the long run. I think that the free speech is an important thing, and I think that there's enough people out there that agree with me. And like Twitter has other problems too, right? Like getting started on Twitter is such a nightmare, right? Like I have a few hundred subscribers, so if I tweet something, there's a couple of people that see it and stuff, but generally speaking, you're just putting something out in the void and nobody really responds to it on Twitter, you know? And they've never really, I feel like that they never really put effort behind trying to fix that. Let's see here. Derek Hunter, if Twitter rejects Elon Musk's offer, uh, Haraga has to resign, as will most of the board. They will have acted directly against the financial interests of shareholders. No, that's not true, but I do. Well, I don't know. The thing is that Twitter has been above 58 or whatever in the past before, right? So yeah, you've never been. Well, I don't think that most people are. Like that's the thing that's curious about it, really, is that uh, um it's the elites that use Twitter. It's the people that qualify for the blue check mark that use Twitter, right? But because that ends up being like people in the news media, famous people, right? It gives Twitter a big amount of power. But you're right, the average person does not use Twitter very much or spend time there. Well, I am currently on Ninja Trader Brokerage. I really think I need to make my video, I'll have some time to write it some more tomorrow, and then I should be able to record it on Saturday, because market's going to be closed tomorrow, right? So we won't have a stream. So I'll use that time to write and maybe even record if I'm lucky. And I plan on going into that, because, and I also want to make a video just about brokers, because there's so many, right? And the thing is I can't make a video that's like, okay, here's like how much they all cost and everything. Like we could make a big spreadsheet. I actually have a spreadsheet, but it changes so often that, I don't know if it really makes sense to. But I use Ninja Trader Brokerage. If you want to use Ninja Trader as your platform, and keep in mind that, like the full license is like $900 or something like that, right? But if you want to use Ninja Trader as your primary platform, then you're going to end up with either Ninja Trader, or if you're in Canada, it's FCC or whatever. I have it written down here. What is their name? I don't know why their name escapes me all of the sudden at the moment, but GFF Brokers. If you're in Canada, it's going to be GFF Brokers. Okay. If you're using Jigsaw, then you've got like a bunch of options, right? Because you could go to AMP, you could go to Edge Clear, you could go to who else we got? You could go to Optimus Futures. There's some of these guys are more expensive commissions. AMP is cheaper commissions. You could go to Ninja Trader Brokerage still, right? So then the world is wide open, and there's like a dozen different brokers you could use. Right? Don uses AMP. Yeah, I tell you, the vast majority of people are either on Ninja Trader Brokerage or AMP. Like I'm gonna bet that like 80%. Well, actually, I take that back. So there's also Sierra Charts. I forget who it is that you do with Sierra Charts, but they're kind of bringing their stuff consolidate, kind of like Ninja Trader did, right? But there was also Tradeovate was really popular, but Tradeovate is basically integrating with Ninja Trader Brokerage now. So, but AMP is far and away the largest futures trading broker, easily the largest. Yeah. But in my video here about getting started in futures, I didn't really cover the broker part. I just I just said I'm going to walk you through how to do it with NinjaTrader data, essentially. Well, they moved quite. Okay, so President Lagarde concluded their press conference. So now maybe I might want to take trades. They still look pretty heavy to me, don't you think? Yeah. The problem that I'm going to have with this video about getting started in futures is it could get like too big really quickly, right? I've already have like 3 pages. Yeah, I already have 3 pages. Yeah. So, but I'll have like 2 hours to work on it tomorrow. So, IMF's managing director Gorgieva, the solution to global economic developments does not have to be in isolation and fragmentation. Yeah, I'm sure you would say that. The ECB will decide on the app's expiration date and the rate path forward in June. S&P 500 on the open seems to be making some really impressive gains here. I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to put some at... Oops. No, I don't think they're going to give it to me. Because that is very aggressively bullish buying on the open in the S&P 500. That is very aggressively buying. Not too sure what they do in the treasuries here. They came back down to the low. They did a decent bounce, but it's tough for me to make a call there. I mean, I think maybe a reversal here might be worth it, but there is probably going to be a little bit of gravity here towards the 22. When I say gravity, it's like being sucked into a hole, not necessarily like a tractor beam, right? But yeah, I was a little bit like iffy about, because I knew that I had missed the 45. Yeah, I was a little bit iffy about putting a bunch of orders there, but it's been up there long enough that I'm glad I did it. We'll see. That is pretty unlikely for them to come back to the open, but I wouldn't count it out because it's been awfully volatile lately, right? What's this? I decided directing my tweet solely to Twitter CEO was an oversimplification, so I deleted. I stand by the underlying sentiment. Elon Musk's attempted takeover of Twitter is a threat to the free world. I care about freedom and also factual precision. You can't have both, guys. You can't have both. I do not understand this mentality of other people that you should have free speech, but you can't have free speech online because you might spread misinformation. Well, now that Twitter is open, let's come and look at the options on them, huh? Because so just as in case you missed it, Keller, at the top of the hour, the board is going to be meeting to discuss his offer. So we could find out whether or not they're going to take his offer or not within the next hour or two, right? I bet you the options on this are going to be crazy expensive, but I think it's still worth taking a look. I have to do it on the other screen though, because I don't want to show account numbers and stuff. Feds to offer sweeping racial justice plan? Oh, is Biden actually going to do something for once that might actually help him? Federal agencies are unveiling sweeping plans on Thursday as part of a government-wide effort by the Biden administration to ensure racial minorities and other underserved communities have equal access to government resources, a laudable goal. The plans are more than a year in the making, triggered by an executive order on advancing racial justice and equity that the President Biden signed in his first day in office. The officials said the plans include some 300 strategies and commitments. Among them, the Labor Department plans to launch a new initiative to help workers of color overcome barriers in accessing unemployment insurance benefits. The Environmental Protection Agency will shift from responding to civil rights complaints to beginning civil rights reviews proactively. The Pentagon plans to work with historically black colleges and universities to diversify its artificial intelligence workforce. That's interesting. And the Justice Department will improve language access to its programs so that Americans who are not proficient in English can more easily report crimes to access the department's resources. Okay. So it's kind of things that have been in process for a while, but they're kind of just making it a PR push right now. Cool. That could help Biden though. Because lately it's been very dismal for him. Okay, I got this open. Twitter. So, of course, the ones for today are not very much. Ooh. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I could buy some lottery tickets, guys. But I don't think I want April. Let's look at the May 20s. Well, the May 20s are they're asking for quite a bit, actually. They're asking for like $3. Of course, the ones for the April, it's like you know what, you could do it. You could do it. I'll load this over here now. Okay, it's not crazy. So when you come out to May, right? May and June, okay? If we just wanted to do something at the money, let's say we wanted to buy some puts, right? We're talking about like $5, which is really $500, right? But when we come over here into April, basically the ones that expire today, right? $100. So I think that we could, I don't know if I want to spend $100 on it though. But I think that we could buy puts right here at 106.47. So again, my prediction, let's see here. All strikes. Okay, so how far out are they actually putting them? So 35, you notice that there's like 9,000 right there. I mean, because it's an even number, that's probably part of it, but that's kind of where I feel like they could go to. I don't know if they could get to that today though. That would be a little crazy to get there today. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm kind of tempted to try it. Although let's do, if we're going to do something out of the money, you know, $30. Wait, so let's come back over here. Hmm. Oh, they won't let me do it. They're saying that because they are expiring today, they won't let me buy them. That sucks. Okay. So that trade's not going to work for me. Well, we're just going to have to see where it goes. Let's just, you just put that one down. I would have bought 30s, but my broker won't let me. They say that trying to trade the options on the day of expiration is too risky, so they won't let me do it. That sucks. I think you can go short Twitter here. I mean, like look, just on the price movement right now, just on the price movement, could you get 45? Yeah. Could you get 45 to go in the money? And they're only 30 cents. Yeah. 45 and then 30 cents past that. And then the board comes out and says we reject the offer. And all of a sudden it's worth what? $10. That's like a $10,000 fucking trade. Dude, if you got the options, I would make. I can't say that sort of thing. Can't say this. I didn't say anything. Forget I said anything about the options. I wanted to do it, but I want to. But mommy, I want to. Yeah. So to do anything, we would have to be going out into the May ones. 300. No. Because then you'd have to get 43. I mean, it's possible. You might still make money, but it's not like this crazy risk reward thing. But if they would let me do it for $30, come on. $30, that's a no-brainer. $30 and it could be worth like 10,000. Like what? Listen, I'm not trying to encourage anybody to do it, but if you do it, and you make tens of thousands of dollars on it, make sure you give me a tip, please. Well, okay, so remember when we were like way back up at 22 and I was like, well, I don't know if you really want to reverse this. It's extended much, much lower here. I do not know what to make of that. Oh, look, all of our things got filled here. That's cool. I'm really bummed out that they won't let me trade the options expiring today. I I understand the risk. It's $30. Come on. Oh my gosh, please. I want to do it so bad. That I want to do it so bad. It probably means that it's probably a really bad trade, but come on. Come on. Just one. I just need one. I mean, they're not gonna let me do it. They're probably not gonna let you do it either. But so let's see what happens. I really think that Twitter's gonna come out here. Man, what is happening to the dollar here? Well, I like went all in on buying the S&P 500 because I really, really liked that open. That trade is not going very well. It's a sim trade, so I'm just going to let it do its thing. I'm not sure what the deal is here in the treasuries. So let's come here. Did I really miss something while I was, ignoring the ECB and all of that? Hunter Biden likely to be charged under FARA if Department of Justice applies Mueller standard. Yes, this time is different. Retail sales growth slowest in 13 months. Oh, Goldman jumps on blowout FIC revenue despite significant decline in investment banking. Yay! That means I made a ton of money today. Actually, I didn't even look. Where was it? Did I close it already? Shouldn't have closed it. How much are they up today? No surprises from ECB, which vows to take whichever action is. What? Somebody just puked hard there. Oh my gosh. 4,000 traded at 09 just like that. That actually might. Oh, so I don't think that you want to do it like right. Well, okay, I'll do it for fun. I don't think that you necessarily want to take that one right away, but that's the sort of thing that can create a short-term reversal. Like maybe we could go to the previous range even maybe. I'm probably pushing it a little bit trying to get 12, but Fed needs to be move expeditiously to more neutral policy levels. Oh, am I at not actually? Well. So today Goldman is up 1.5%. I'm only making 36 on that though. That's weird. Maybe that's correct though. I don't know. Uh-huh. You did not save anything. You took the hero trade? Oh, well, on a sim account, yeah, but I don't really think of it as a hero trade, Octavius. This is like a teeny tiny. I mean, 09.5 might be where I have to take it off, to be honest, because I'm not looking for like a serious reversal. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't say it. I saw the spike near the oven. Okay. So where is this, relatively speaking? Ah, man. I don't know. What do you think it's gonna do today, man? Like, this is just crazy. It's zany. I don't. That's true. That's very true. Although this has been flattening a bit. Why some turn small account into big short like well, because it looks good for YouTube and it gets people to click on your thumbnails. Is it possible? Yes, but is it advisable? Mm, that kind of depends on your risk profile, right? I think that a lot of people come in with this idea that they're going to take $1,000 and then they're going to become a millionaire out of it, and that's not going to happen. Because first of all, somebody like Ross Cameron has some advantages that you don't when a bunch of people are following their trades, right? So that's a big part of it right there. And I think that he has a big wad to trade sometimes too. But um, the thing is that if you take excessive risk, um, you can make big money, right? But in the long run, that will catch up to you. So those kinds of strategies can be worthwhile to like a content creator because that will get the channel interest, but it's not really a very solid investment strategy. Okay. that like 95% of futures traders are just going to blow their accounts, right? So I think that 12 was a little bit too much. I probably should have taken it off at 09.5, but now that it's going lower and I took one, I don't know. I don't really like the trade now that it's filled, but I guess I'm going to eat it if it doesn't. Yeah. Well, it's not so much penny stocks, it's just low floats, right? Yeah. It's really risky. But, like people do it in futures here too, right? Like, just think here for a moment. I guess I don't like either of these trades, so I'm just going to kind of puke here. Yeah, may the hero rest in peace. But you know what? I think that the trade was a good trade. I should have taken the 09.5 when I said it, huh? Yeah. Man, the dollar is just taking off here. Watch the treasury come back up to where I wanted it to. This is a pretty volatile market, my friends. I still want the Twitter trade, man. I'm still thinking about the Twitter trade. I want to buy the Twitter. There you go. Go and buy Twitter 45 options or puts. And for like $30. And then the Twitter board will come out and say that they're not going to accept Elon Musk's offer and Twitter is going to like completely crash. And you'll make like, and it would be worth like $10,000 maybe. Maybe. Could happen. Make sure you give me a tip. I'm not really actually advising anybody to do that. It is a super risky trade, okay? Consult your investment advisor to see if options trading is for you. They're probably not going to let you take that trade. They won't let me take that trade. See, well, they did come back to 09.5. So maybe I could be scratching that if I still didn't like it. But yeah, the euro did have a good run. I mean, I think that something's happening that's bigger with just the dollar, right? I'm surprised that Bitcoin, well, let me see here. Oh, it is kind of taking a hit. Yeah, okay. So something's going on with the dollar here, but what's going on might not necessarily be triggered by news, right? There are often big moves in currencies ahead of the weekend. It looks to me like a ton of money is coming back home at the moment. Where that puts us in the treasuries, I don't know, but as we've been, as the dollar has been moving, the treasuries have been moving down. So I haven't taken any live trades today, though. That one I did buy the open in the S&P 500 and got slaughtered on that one, right? I'm still kind of feeling like I want to buy it, even though I don't know why. I feel like at the moment that I don't really have an edge, and so it probably doesn't make much sense for me to try and take a trade. Like, it's really hard for me to see things move and not trade it, because in my mind it's like, oh my gosh, look, we were at 2.7 at one point. If I had bought that back 30-40 minutes ago, I'd be up like $70. That would be like one of my best trades ever, right? But would I have actually done that? Would I have actually held it? And did I actually have a good reason to do that at the time? I don't think that I really did. So what do we have? I don't think that there's going to be much more news. There is going to be, Twitter, of course. Let's see here. We get business inventories, Michigan, University of Michigan. Um, consumer expectations. That's going to be a key piece of news. So the timing, obviously, it doesn't make very much sense, but we might be able to pull something out after that. But then what's really moving the market? It looks like it's like weekend rebalancing. And since I don't really have a good model here to explain where it's going to go, I think the only thing that I could do is try to say, you know, go with the momentum. But the move might be over, you know? The move might be over. So I think that we can probably take some gambles here and mess around a little bit on sim, but I don't think that it makes sense to put uh my live account at risk here in this volatility. It's really quite a crazy volatile move here. Okay, so some pulling there. Okay, so the expectations are a lot better. Yeah, those University of Michigan numbers all look pretty good. And business inventories was 1.5 versus 1.3. So uh, that might help spoos a little bit. Okay, so now that they're done, they're still kind of pushing. Maybe 85. What do you think? Yesterday's lows? Maybe. That kind of looks like that was like another push, but that there's still, the buy side liquidity here isn't really giving up. I'm not breathing on the microphone here. It usually is not give me sounds like that. Hold on a second. Do you think China in lockdown is a foreshadowing for the rest of us? No, I don't think so at all. I think it's extremely unlikely that other Western countries lock down. Um, they are largely have herd immunity and are not at risk. You know, the part of the reason that China has to lock down is that like none of their population is immune, right? But no, but more so than that, the politicians have all learned that people really don't like it. Well, I thought that that spot was worth a try, but it's not going. So I don't know about this one. I have to say this is like well past where normally we would have some sort of a stoppage, and it's really not responding. So okay, so my thing just reset. So I was thinking 8.5. That came so fast, my man. It's really hard for me to sit here and watch all of that and like not having trade it, but like that isn't there is absolutely no way I could have ever imagined that it would have moved that far. That is an extremely unusual move in the treasury. Extremely. No, because based on traders in futures. Well, The worst thing about ECB news is that it dropped to the Great British Pound to my entry. It dropped 71 pips in 1 hour, and now I'm long. Wow. Do you watch the yield futures and the ZN? That I do think that kind of can help me. I'm noticing that like there are certain prices that end up mattering over here. So they're back to 120 now. Man. How strong of a run was that exactly? Where is my ruler? Ruler. That's a 50 tick move since the S&P 500 opened. That is so crazy. Oh, the coffee mug from Seth helps you. Thanks. Link in the video description. I have it. It's over there. Do you see it? It's over there. Right there. Right? Oh, actually, it's not over there. It's over there. I need to bring it back. I want to make a shirt that looks like the Zodiac, but instead of having all of the constellations, it has chart patterns around it, you know? And it will say technical analysis is astrology for men. If you're a designer, you know, send me a design. You gonna trade treasuries for May? Start looking at it. Well, your work are you in Europe or something? Well, I appreciate it. I gotcha. Yeah, that does kind of suck, actually. Are they gonna break through the high? We're still a long ways. Nah, there's no way we get to like the April 12th highs. Maybe depends on the instrument, but is the bund the same as our T notes? They're close. I'm sure that there are a lot of nuances between the two, but I'm not familiar with what the differences are. Okay, he says that the long end is breaking right now. ZN is basically lagging a little bit. Just curious. $2.8. NYR. We may actually be we may actually be at the high of the week in the 10-year. Let's see. Are they? Well, 2.5, 2.8. No, they're still pretty steep. We're getting pretty good pullback now. Should be all about yields. No, it's not. It really we don't really care about the yields. By the way, how many contracts short was it? Well, from the whole session, like from the very, very high, from before we started trading, it's about 25K. No, let's call it 33K. 33K. So theoretically, you should. Yes, I would. If you were going to trade that. Here's the thing, David. I was like, oh, I knew I was going to say something to David. I can't remember what it was. Okay, here's the thing, David. The activity that you've been seeing in the Treasury the past 4 months, 4 to 6 months, is extremely unusual. I have almost never seen anything even remotely close to it. And I would not use that as your benchmark for the way that it's going to continue to be in the future. In fact, I can almost guarantee you that 2 months from now, there's not going to be as much volatility in here unless something really wild happens. like the volatility that we're seeing in the treasury market today is so extreme. It's just, and volatility clusters. So it's pretty likely that we see some of this volatility die down soon. Yeah, exactly. You can't see the money in the forex markets. You can't see the money in the forex markets, so you can't see how many orders are coming through, right? Like this is the issue in this particular situation is that the dollar made a huge move, and that might be people that had money overseas. I don't know, alligators saying carry trades. There's all sorts of reasons why you might have money out there and then want to bring it home, and maybe they're getting squeezed here. Essentially, maybe they're getting squeezed here. So it's really hard for us to judge how much money out there actually has to make that move now, right? But if the dollar is the thing that's moving us, then this will probably continue to move until the dollar is done. Now the dollar has made a much more significant pullback here in the last few minutes than all session. So maybe it's happened. Maybe it is going to turn around. And if that happens, I think that you would see some technical traders do a bunch of stuff and maybe eventually we could reverse it. We might be so I don't like the time. I mean, it's 8:21. Oftentimes when I get in trades at this time of day, I have trouble, I could still try to make $10 off of this. No, it's just 2 wire. Well, that really is quite the insane move. This, like the balance back on this might be stronger than one might think. I mean, they're coming back to that '09 area, it looks like. Well, remember when we were at 2.85 and I was like, oh, look, I could have traded that. Now we're back to it. But now am I being picky? Am I like being like I just need to ball, just jump into it? Go short here? No, because I want it to come back to like 2.8 and then maybe I take it short, It does seem like that move in the dollar is over. I'm surprised that Bitcoin hasn't gotten hammered more, but they could come back to 40K and then, I mean, that's still within the realm of possibilities in Bitcoin right now. They come to 40K and then once they dip below 40K, I think you get a bunch of people like puking there again. Yeah. Okay, so there is a little bit of kind of what I was looking for. So in this one, I'll put it right now. I guess I have to do that. I do it like that. Fortunately, the S&P 500 still looks a little sad today. Okay. So we're definitely at an interesting decision point. Thinking about it, but I didn't click. Still seems kind of volatile to me. Okay. Hmm. Dang, it's just moving. Did not quite get what I wanted there. I feel really sheepish about trying to hit into 2.85 now. Like that just moved $15 real quick. Real quick. I was looking for the right trade though. I mean, I was on the right track. I could still maybe do it. I don't know if I like 7.9 though. The way that it's moving right now, it looks a lot less like a meta order to end correlation. This looks more like volume trying to balance out and slosh around. If that's the case, there's a much higher probability of like random moves. So I get a lot more picky about what price I want. Yeah, see, that's back up to 795. Wouldn't surprise me to see them dip below 120.03 now. Like there is, yeah. So I think that there is some correlations going on here. I mean, the dollar is chopping around in that spot. Let's zoom this chart in a little bit. See that with the dollar moving up there, and then you're seeing the treasuries fall. Hmm. Came back there pretty quick. Kind of looks to me like they're balancing around 04.5. Mostly because that's where I took a trade. Isn't that funny? It seems like that they're doing it because I put it there, but it's not. That's not actually what happens, right? It's likely to happen because that's like where the orders come through. So because you put an order in there, like that makes it more likely to happen there. You always find yourself caught in those. E-mini is maybe digging out of the hole here. I'm just gonna try one last YOLO over there in ES if that's okay. We got 30 minutes left, right? By the way, how are we doing on our poll today? They've been in there for 30 minutes now. YouTube's been giving me a little bit of an issue here. I'm gonna have to refresh here for it to show me the results of the poll, I think. Okay, so after 24 votes, 62% of you think no. I'm gonna end that poll. Yeah, I think you're probably. I agree with y'all. You all came to. I think that they're gonna say no. But who knows? We'll see. I can't imagine a meeting like that taking much more than an hour. But I don't know. They got a lot to discuss. It might take them a while. Sometime today. I hope that we get to hear it from. I hope that we get an answer before we stop streaming, because that would be awfully fun. That would be awfully fun. Trump claims current developments in Ukraine, tweets Sputnik. They're totally trying to push. You know what, guys? Here's the thing. Like I feel like that I can be like fair to both sides here, because I'm going to complain about a Democrat and a Republican, okay? But I miss the days where when you were no longer president, you shut up and went away. Like that's the job of former presidents, is to shut up. Why won't Obama shut up? Why doesn't Donald Trump shut up? We don't. You're not president anymore. Okay, you should fade into the background so that the people that have been voted on and that they can have the spotlight on them. And trying to use your presidency to become like some sort of cultural icon in the years after you're being president is, I think, uh, irresponsible and selfish. Just me. Just me. But I keep hearing stuff from Donald Trump. I'm like, why? Just, are you going to run again? No, thank you. I supported you when you ran the first time. It was an okay run. You made some mistakes, but you tried. It's somebody else's turn now, right? Obama narrating a nature documentary on Netflix. That to me was just like, what? I mean, I don't know. He has an okay voice, but still. Okay, well, this could be our stop. I don't know. Oh, I did not know that. The University of Michigan Consumer Confidence only surveys 500 people a month? Well, that's not enough. They close. They're like, should we fill Seth? They're arguing with themselves. Well, we could fill him and then dump it down to like 119.16 or something. But if we're done, we probably shouldn't fill him. That's the way it's gonna work. You get filled, it's probably a bad thing. Over here, it's often a bad thing you get filled. I don't know. Trying to provide liquidity after a trend like that is a very precarious proposition. It's a very precarious proposition to be providing liquidity after that, right? But I do think that the move in the dollar is over. I do think that they should probably balance out, and there was so much volatility on that. We should be able to pull out a pretty decent range with it. Will Trump practice the art of withdrawal ahead of the 2024 presidential primaries? I hope so. That President Trump is the master of confusing mind games. His skill set was recently showcased in a Daily Mail headline where Trump 75 admits his health could stop him from running for president in 2024 and says Pence, DeSantis, and Mike Pompeo would not oppose him in a Republican primary. Thank goodness for the long weekend. Yeah, right. That's, you know what, on a day like today, that is something that I think I probably shouldn't think about it, but I totally do. Because I'm like, you know what, Seth? The last thing that you need is to take a huge loss ahead of a weekend, because it just ruins your whole weekend. And you know what? I mean, today is a Thursday. It's not a Friday, but because it's a shortened week, we can consider it a Friday. I have a history of doing dumb things on the last day of the week. Like here, if I take this, I don't know. I think that I want a price that they're not going to give me. If I take this, I'm not looking for very much. No, it does seem like maybe it's dying out though. Like the range may be. I think you could go as high as 8, but I think that the range is this. And where we've been at. Yeah, 0.4 0.4 kind of seems like the biggest hole so far, but there has been some more volume traded down here too. So the hole is just this whole thing. It's like there's going to be a lot of liquidity here and there's going to be a lot of liquidity here. And then this whole area is going to be like where they have to trade. There. Does that look like a boob? Does that look like a boob to you? Because people always saying that when I draw, it looks like boobs. No. Maybe it's a Pablo Picasso boobs. Like, there you go. Let me draw something. Look, it's a woman. Huh? There you go, am I an artist? You turn that, listen, turn that into an NFT. You can be a millionaire now. There you go. Except for that the NFT market has been crashing. You see that whole thing about like when Jack Dorsey's tweet went out that it was millions of dollars and like it couldn't even get like $1,000 or whatever. Like, holy crap, man. There is some you know what's the funny about the NFT game? I mean, there's lots of small guys out there involved in it. And I really think that it's a scam, but you know, it's a scam trying to lure in rich people is what it is. Yeah, it's a scam that they're trying to lure in really, really big Ethereum holders, right? Somebody lost some money on that. I tell you what. Yeah, that bounce looks really good, guys. Like, I'm really weary about that price, but especially in the 5-year. Yeah. Not quite the way you want that to go, but it could be worse. Okay, so the 10-year ticked up. What do we see the dollar? The dollar is moving down a little bit. I'm seeing the 6J move down a little bit. Gold is just all over the place today. Some of these commodities. Like I think that the Treasury had the wildest ride, but it kind of looks like just about everybody had some volatility in the market today. And the ES is probably not even close to done for today, right? Now they didn't come up and hit me at 30 though. That's sad. That's better. That's what I like to see. So I like to see my price go off. There you go. Even if the trade doesn't work out, you know, I can at least say that my entry was done properly. Right? That's how I can console myself if I lose like $100 here off of this. All of a sudden the Treasury's plunged down to new lows. No. But if it does, I'll say, yeah, but at least my entry was good. Okay, so a little bit more volume to take 06 than I anticipated. Suppose if you were somebody that's short and trying to take profits, that's great, but yes, is looks a little sad today, guys. Can you do anything to cheer him up? Cheer her up? I think, you know, I bet you the S&P 500 really likes chocolate. We could like pool our resources together maybe a little bit and buy the S&P 500 some chocolates or something. Because she just doesn't look her usual self today. Well, we had an okay run there in the Treasury, but you know, like I said, there was an iceberg there, and that iceberg did seem to affect the price action. What about ZB? ZB hasn't been moving much here. So if we do see a move out here in ZB, that could be more significant for us, right? I think I'm getting into over analysis mode here. Did you scalp? Yeah, I'm trying to take a little scalp here. By the way, earlier today, I took one in ZN. And how much was it? Oh, neither of them were too bad. Okay. Okay. So right there. The U.S. does not intend to return assets to Russian businessmen, which are now seized after the Ukrainian crisis is resolved, says the White House. Any advice about scalping 2 seconds into 1 minute? So wow, hey, that was a good trade right there. I really like that. I really like that, Phil. Hey. So if you're really looking for like really, really short trades, first of all, if you're going to do that in futures, probably going to be over here in the equity indexes, right? But I think that if you're going to play that game, you'll probably want to have a really strong correlation to play with, and maybe even some algorithmic assistance. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some people do this on NQ and make money from it, but it looks like a tough game, and I'm not so sure that that's one that you really want to play. You know, like when you think about market making, their advantage is largely that they get at the front of the queue and they're fast, so they can have a correlation and they can really stick with it. You know, that was a good buy, but it is it's coming back almost as fast as it went up, so we're still quite volatile, even though it looks like that this market is becoming a little bit more liquidity driven. Anyways, I mean, that's why I don't play, because I originally was started this out kind of thinking like I wanted to take more of a scalping mentality. But the longer along I've gotten, the more I've realized that as a retail trader, um, you really have more of an advantage, a better chance of having some success playing more of the speculator game. That doesn't mean that you have to swing trade, right? The longer you hold, the more likely you are to make money, and the more money you're likely to make. But you can take a trade that's only 30 minutes. You have to predict orders, and trying to predict orders over like a second is like a crapshoot. And unless you're really fast, unless you have like a correlated instrument that is really, and not a lot of competition. That's the other thing, is like you can kind of put a couple of correlations on the board and really understand your market and do market making and be successful with it. But it's going to have to be a market where there's not a lot of competition, right? And there's a lot of competition in the S&P 500. I mean, there's about, that's about as competitive as it gets. Same with the 10-year. So that's kind of the challenge, right? These guys that they made money, they were doing market making strategies like in the 2000s, right? But they got outcompeted by the robots, essentially, right? Well, I think that some of this move up that we had is in part because of the 30-year. the 30-year hasn't really backed off since that move, so it is possible that the 30-year takes another step up and maybe goes to 142, but I think that that's kind of the thing that's holding them back at the moment. The story today should be natural gas. Ooh, wow, yeah, you are right. That's a big move. No, they came back, huh? I don't know. Well, okay, so the 30 came down a tick or two. But, like when you come over here and you look at this in the 10-year, like look at that. That is so very random price movement, right? One time I tried to scalp an NQ and Jigsaw, so yeah. I really don't get how anybody does that in NQ. I I really think that to do it in NQ, I would need to have something that would reduce, I couldn't be every tick. My DOM couldn't be every tick. I'd have to change my DOM to be like every 4 ticks or something like that. Because it just moves too fast. Whoa, okay. Twitter will hold an all hands meeting with employees at 2 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific to discuss the Musk offer. Well, that's going to be after the market closes. Let's see here. What's Stexenhammer do? Elon Musk's proposal is the big ask. If Twitter does not do major damage control, their shareholders will crucify them for turning down such a lucrative move, especially shareholders who held for a long period and have watched current leadership destroy their wealth. Yeah. I don't think we have I don't know what the 20-year is anymore. Well, we don't have 20-year micros. It sure is moving around a lot. They're not breaking up, but the 30-year, it looks like it's kind of wants to put the squeeze on them. Maybe he wants to put the squeeze on them. Let's see here. Oh man, Jeff Jarvis today on Twitter feels like the last evening in a Berlin nightclub at the twilight of Weimar, Germany. What? Glenn Greenwald, canceling my commitments for the day so I can watch liberals become more unhinged, historical, and panicked over the prospect that they may not be able to wield censorship power over Twitter. It's only 11 a.m. on the East Coast, and we're already at Nazi analogies, right? Oh my gosh. Dude. Can you think of bigger... there's so much crazy stuff. This year, the pandemic and the Ukraine thing and the way the bonds have been moving and stuff. And it's just like, okay, maybe things are going to calm down. And like, yeah, I think the volatility could calm down, But like there's still crazy stories to talk about, and Elon Musk taking over Twitter, that's just about as big as it gets, man. Or like really, this is the shit you're gonna be telling your grandkids about, man. This is seriously. Hey kids, grandchildren, how are you? This was the day that Elon Musk offered to buy Twitter. We don't know what's going to happen, but I hope that they take the offer and he makes it a free speech platform so that I can tell you, grandchildren, see, and now today we have free speech on the internet thanks to Elon Musk. You know? I hope that's what I can say. That's why I'm in Twitter today, for the clout. Well, if they say yes, then that's a great trade, man. I kind of like I still like the puts trade, man. $30 for puts. Hoping, but no, it's not a good trade anymore, right? Because basically they're not going to discuss it with their employees until after the market closes, right? No. ZN tick down. ZB tick down. You know, if I was willing to just do market making here in the 10-year, probably could have done pretty well with that, right? Because they're like ticking almost 5 ticks when they tick up. The suspense is, I know, right? Well, you know what? I tell you what, when they, I don't know what I got going on today. I might be able to work out doing a live stream. I might be able to work out doing a live stream when they talk to the employees or whatever. But you know what? I kind of suspect the timing of it makes me pessimistic that the deal will happen. Yeah. Like if you want to do it, I don't know. I mean I'm not a mind reader, right? If you want to do it, then I think you had your meeting. Let's say yes now. And then the stock price will go up to 54 and whatever, and it'll be great, right? If you want to talk to the employees, then sure, that makes perfect sense too. They want to talk to the employees. That makes perfect sense. Okay. But if you want to say no, doing it after the market closes on a 3-day weekend is a great time to put out a piece of news that's basically going to end your company. Yeah. So the fact that it was again, what did they say? 1 o'clock Pacific time. It was like basically after the market closed. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen. Well, guys, let's put in the title. Elon Musk offers Twitter takeover. Listen, I'm not going to say that it's a scam, but I'm just being very cautious about any kind of guru online, even myself, in terms of your ability to duplicate our results. Okay. Listen, I'm trying to do the best that I can, but I'm not perfect. I've lost money doing this. Okay. Day trading's super hard, right? And just the way that it works is, the reality is that if somebody is making big claims, that the most likely possibility is that they're lying or lucky, or there's something that you're not going to be able to duplicate. So, hey, I will see you guys next week, unless we do a special stream. I don't think we'll be able to do that. In the meantime, Stay profitable, friends.